Welcome to the meeting number 21 of Spearhead Toastmasters. I am Surjit Laknotra, Sergeant at Arms for today. We provide a sportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. You are now inside the code of conduct of a Toastmaster meeting. Please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and that it may not be possible to pause the recording. There are some meeting rules, so here they are. Please be advised that any behavior that disturbs the flow of meeting will result in removal without any warning. Please ensure that any noise-making device are either switched off or on silent mode. Please speak responsibly on religion, sex, and politics in your speeches as far as possible. Please keep your videos on, audios off. Any applause flowing throughout. Be the kind of audience for others you would like to be for yourself. T mode, TTM, and GE. Please ensure a smart audio and video check before handing over the stage to role players. Role players, please rename yourself as role player, your name, your club name. You may omit the club name if you are a member of Spearhead. Please acquaint yourself with the role of the timer. The timer will be background change or screen sharing to indicate the time using one of the cards. Green card means that you have reached the minimum qualifying time. Yellow indicates that it is a good time to start concluding. Red specify that you have 30 seconds more or you will be disqualified. Individual session timing will be explained in due time. We encourage you to use the Zoom emoticons generally to encourage the role player. We sincerely request you not to send chat messages to everyone or the speaker on the stage. In fact, refrain from chatting altogether and focus on the speaker. Reiterating, please stay on mute until specifically requested to unmute. Polls will be launched after each section and will be closed after 30 seconds. With this, now I welcome our presiding officer, very charming Ragini Rajpal. Over to you, Ragini.
Hello, everyone. I welcome you all to the 21st meeting of the Spearhead Toastmasters Club. And once again, your united passion and energy has helped us all to come together as one. So thank you to all the role players and the members. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of guests for adding extra spark to our meetings. Commencing with, we have Naveen Parwal. Welcome. And we have Chintan Sheth, who is also playing the grammarian for the day. So I was quite an extrovert and pretty well at public speaking, or so I thought. Then in May 2018, I joined this amazing platform called Toastmasters. No matter how thoroughly you rehearse, it's nearly inevitable that you'll stumble upon at least one question or on at least one comment or topic from the audience that you were not ready for. Till date, I can't predict what is there in the 11 minds of people present inside this forum. What does it mean to be a Toastmaster? A question asked by many, including all my mentees. And honestly, I struggled long and hard to find the answer. But here it is today. From being silent, I got my voice. From being scared, I became brave. From being lonely, I felt comfort and warmth. From being low, I felt inspired. From being defensive, I became more humble. From being conscious, I felt strength. Now, did you get what it means to be a Toastmaster? It is simple. It means to look the world beyond the borders, what we know, and push further than we think we are capable. When we give speeches, we are taught that great speeches come from looking beyond the ordinary, the mundane. When we are taught leadership skills, we learn how to lead others, how to teach, and how to function as a part of great machine. And today we will celebrate 97 years of Toastmasters International. It is with immense pride that I invite on stage our Toastmaster of the day, who is indisputably an epitome of dedication and commitment, who has always gone over and beyond and set an incredible example as a member, president, and now an area director. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Toastmaster and area director Nimit Mittal. Over to you.
Thank you very much, my president and ex-area director, Ragini. And can we have a huge round of applause for her, please? So she was the one from whom I have taken over and have learned a lot, okay, and also many more. And that's the beauty of Toastmasters. So with that, I welcome you all once again. And well, it all started in 1905, Illinois, United States, where the educational director of YMCA, Ralph C. Smetley, identified the need of public speaking among its fellow colleagues and students. And this is where the inception about this, the whole idea about this Toastmasters came into being. On that note, let me ask you a trivia. Let me ask you a question. Can anyone tell me from where this term, where this word Toastmasters came from? You can all raise your hand. Can anyone tell me why Toastmasters is called Toastmasters? Has anyone thought about it? Okay, Hina is raising her hand. Yes, please.
Yes, it's coming from weddings where, you had someone to come and talk to the bride and the groom about something nice about them, and people were always fumbling.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. So this is in earlier days, and in fact, at many places now as well, in various occasions, specifically in banquets or weddings or other. So from there, this term was picked up. And back then in 1905 itself, March 24, first unofficial meeting of Toastmasters was organized. But then it could not flourish much, and it took around 18, 20 odd more years to spread the word further. And this happened when Smedley moved to Santa Ana, California, and accepted the job at YMCA there. And it was by 1924, the first official Toastmasters meeting was organized. Can anyone tell me the date? The exact date, when was the first Toastmasters, official Toastmasters meeting held? A hint for you is in this week itself, we just celebrated the 97th anniversary of Toastmasters.
21st.
Who said it?
It will be.
Yeah, that's right. So 21st of October, that was Friday. So in fact, it was 22nd October, not 21st, okay, which happened on Friday, was the first ever official meeting, and dozen of people joined there, a couple of dozen of people joined there, and from there the word spread all across. By 1926, Smedley wrote the 10 lessons in public speaking, which attained a lot of popularity. And talking about public speaking, let us cover the 3 aspects of public speaking in our meeting today. The first, the prepared speeches, where the speaker on the day have prepared their speeches in advance and would be delivering in front of us. These speeches are essentially from the Pathways, which is the recognized educational module of Toastmasters. Next, we have the table topics, where we all will get a chance to speak on a given topic impromptu. And last but not the least, the evaluation section, where everyone gets a chance to improve. How do we improve? Well, it would be coordinated by the general evaluator of the day. And today, the general evaluator is none other than our Vice President Education, Toastmaster Verma, who is a very enthusiastic and an avid traveler, and who never stops exploring pastures new. So help me welcome the general evaluator of the day to explain her role and also share with us one striking aha moment which she observed in her journey with Toastmasters so far. Over to you, Ragini. Sorry, Hina.
All right. Thank you, Toastmaster Nimit. That was an interesting question. Let me start with the aha moment to begin with. I think the aha was when Nimit was supposed to tell Hina and he said, Ragini, aha. Jokes apart, I think Toastmasters was a nice space for me always. I've been a Toastmaster quite a long term ago, and I decided to drop it since I was not getting the right engagement. But in pursuit of something interesting for my son, I fumbled upon Toastmaster, and I had my moment of aha, saying that, yeah, I guess I missed it and I need to come back. So that's my aha for you, and hope that all of you have had similar interesting moments. Well, good afternoon to everyone present, participants and dear guests. I'm Hina and I will be your general evaluator for the day. As a general evaluator, my role is to evaluate multiple aspects of the meeting today. One, the overall meeting and how it was conducted, the various role players who are playing their part and creating a great experience for us. What are some of the spaces they could strengthen more? What's working better? What's doing well? So we will have a little discussion around that. We will also take this opportunity to, hear prepared speeches. And while I have a team of partners with me in the form of evaluators and tag team players, I think I will also take a moment to give feedback to our evaluators who would join me shortly in the subsequent sections. Finally, we would have table topics, and there should be someone to be able to come back and say, hey, what are some of the spaces which went well for us and what could be improved? And that's a little role I would be playing. Overall, I think in the spirit of Toastmasters, like Nimit said, while Toastmasters would have started with the journey of finding a space for all of us to talk and get better at giving celebratory speeches, but it's not complete. Any learning is not complete unless you've had someone to come back and tell you how you could improve. And just to make sure that I'm not the only one doing that, I would invite my tag team along. We have a timer who is today played by Toastmaster Rama. Rama is someone who will help us make sure that we are concise. She will make sure that whether it is our icebreaker session today, which will be timed for at least 4 minutes and an upper limit of 6, or our prepared speeches, which will be timed for at least 5 minutes and an upper limit of 7. She will make sure we get that indication through the green card you're seeing on the screen right now, and the moment it goes beyond the lower circuit and moves towards the higher, you would see her flashing an orange card. And Rama, if you have it handy, maybe we could just flash that and say, okay, you're just about right time to wrap up the session. That's the orange card, and green card would mean you've completed, or the red card would mean that you've completed the allotted time, and it's important that you plan a final closure if you still have something more to do. On all the speeches, you would have a 30 seconds of grace on either sides as you complete your prepared speeches. Similarly, Lama will play a fantastic role in helping our table topic sessions today and ensuring that a similar notification on 1 minute, 1.5 minute, and of 2 minutes is shared, just like you see over here. This is the various cards you would see: green at 1, yellow or orange at 1.5, and red at 2. You would have 30 seconds grace towards the upper circuit to ensure you're able to wrap up. And I also have two amazing evaluators who would come in later. We have Toastmaster Ragini and Toastmaster Rupinder, who would be supporting me in evaluating the prepared speeches. With that, I'm going to invite, I also have AHA counter today being played by Pallavi, and Pallavi will be making sure that our communication is clear, and she would help us know where are we fumbling on our and extra words and spaces. So Pallavi, we are definitely going to be looking out for your report, because I'm sure many of us find that an opportunity for us to get better. And that's Rama indicating me on the red, but I still have a grammarian who's being played by Chintan today. Chintan, thank you so much for joining in today. Can I invite you to help us get sharper and better and more fluent in our language by introducing your role briefly, and also the word of the day, which we should all surely try and use as much as possible. Chintan, over to you.
So, can I request timer to please stop sharing the screen, because I want to just show the word of the day. So, good afternoon, everyone. And as rightly General Evaluator mentioned, I would be the grammarian for the day, and I would keep an close eye on your grammar. I would present my report at the end when called upon. Today's word is dwindle. The meaning of it is diminish gradually in size, amount, or strength. The synonyms are decrease or diminish. And the two examples are: after the protest, public support to the government had started to dwindle. The second one is we better hurry. The eating options after 10 p.m. start to dwindle. I'll post it in the chat as well. And over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Chintan. That was an amazing word, and surely my time over here has dwindled, and I would make sure that I'm passing this back to you, Toastmaster of the day, Nimit, to help us on this journey.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator and the team of tag players. And I request you all to let us not dwindle the energy of the meeting right till the very end. Keep on our videos and get into the spirit of celebrating Toastmasters today. With that, let us move our bandwagon towards future. Okay, and by 1930s, Toastmasters International incorporated and the first ever president of Toastmasters International was elected. He was J. Clark Chamberlain, who was an advertising salesman. Okay, but now can you tell me what was the year when Toastmasters International reached the 100 clubs landmark? Any guesses? Let us be very quick so that we can move on. Our timer is indicating me to move on. I see a guess 1945. Anyone else? Then I'll reveal the answer.
1947.
1945 and 1947. Well, the answer is 1930. Yeah, it is neither of the two. The answer is 1938. Okay, and by 1940, Smedley resigned from YMCA and dedicated himself into Toastmasters full time. By 46, TI for the first time spread its wings outside US, and that's when in 1949 it reached the 700 headquarters building was dedicated. In 1969, then the new communication and leadership program was introduced. But today we have the Modern Day Pathways educational program, which offers a plethora of 300 plus skills across 11 learning paths. And we have two speakers today who are taking the next step on this very journey. So let us bring them forward. The first one being Toastmaster Harshil Sharma, who happens to be our newest member to the club as well. He joined Toastmasters recently, and he is here to polish his English speaking skills, delivery, and storytelling skills. And he says that he wants to participate in all the sessions with Spearhead Toastmasters and complete as many modules as possible. But to bring him on stage for his speech, let us first invite his fellow evaluator of the day, and she is a president, Toastmaster Ragini Rajpal, who although seems small in size, but is larger than life character, a practical Toastmaster who goes out of their way to help you out in need and gets the results in whatever circumstances. An ex-area director, and then let's welcome Toastmaster Ragini to read out the speech objectives.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, for that wonderful introduction. So the purpose of Harshil's speech is to introduce himself to the club and learn the basic structure of public speech. It is his first speech, which is also known as the Icebreaker. The time for his speech is 4 to 6 minutes. I wish all the very best to my speaker, Harshil. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Ragini. And can we have the first speaker on Spotlight, please? Let us have a quick audio video check. Harshil, can you speak a sentence?
Hi, am I visible to everyone? And am I audible?
Yes, you are audible and visible clearly to me. Thank you. Toastmaster Harshil, change is the only constant. Change is the only constant. Toastmaster Harshil.
Thanks, TMOD Nimit. Just a small correction. It's Harshil Agrawal, not Harshil Sharma. So, yeah. And I would also like to thank my friend Anand Katyani, who's unfortunately not here, and Ragini for bringing me over here and making me part of this amazing Toastmaster crew. So let me just ask you guys, start off by asking you guys, have you guys ever spent hours searching for that one particular quote which resonates with your life and still couldn't find that? I mean, for me, I did spend days, hours, which actually made my confidence in Google search skills dwindle. But I still couldn't find that particular quote. And then, tired, I got back to my own work, and I actually had to share my resume with one of my friends. And that's where I realized that answer to my question lies there in front of that one pager in front of me, and that is change. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guest. I'm Harshil Agrawal, presenting my Icebreaker speech today. And if I remember correctly, it might as well be my first ever speech in life. So here I am. Just a couple of things about me before I start off. I call myself a pseudo-Delite since I've hopped on to various cities during childhood because of my father's job, and later on due to my own job. Also, I'm a ex-cadet, occasion engineer, and a fun-loving MBA grad who's been working for the last 8 years in a not so attractive automotive industry, currently being associated with Ola Electric, trying to bring the electric revolution at your doorstep. Yeah, so that's about me. Now let me ask everyone, who all don't like change in their day-to-day routine or life in general? Anyone over here who likes changes? Can I see some hands? Yeah, Hina is one. Oh, yeah. Great. So you guys like changes in their day-to-day routine. Well, that's surprising because most of the people I know, they don't. And I guess that's a human psyche. We don't like changes in our day-to-day routine or life in general. We want to just continue in our status quo, right? But be it a big or small change, we just don't want to embrace it. We just want to avoid those changes and continue with our life. Fortunately or unfortunately, change has been the only constant in my life. Since childhood till date, my life has gone through a lot of drastic changes. Being it a meritorious student during school, to a person who flunked almost all his engineering entrance exams to be precise, from being a proud army cadet to an average engineer, from a kandha to a diehard lover. I mean, willingly or unwillingly, these changes were coming my way, and I had no other option to just to embrace them. In hindsight, when I think, thankfully, so I did, because each and every change taught me something good or bad about myself. Now, being in my professional journey, where as a salesperson, I have to interact with n number of people on a day-to-day basis. During the course of time, I realized that my English, be it spoken English or written English, has gone for a toss. I'm making grammatical errors. My tenses are all over the place. I'm just short of right words at the right time when I needed them the most. I've like, now I have to just do something about it. And that's when I reach out to my dear friend Anand Katyani, who established himself as a seasoned speaker and mastered the art of storytelling. Yeah, storytelling reminds me, a lot of people even suggested me that I should read a lot of novels, newspaper articles, storybooks, which might help me improving my English. And to be honest, I actually tried. But me being me, I turn it into a sorific activity. Whenever I was not feeling sleepy, I'll just grab a novel, hold it, try to read it, and boom, within next 5 minutes, I would be sleeping like a log. So my English or grammar didn't improve, but my sleep cycle surely did. So now I'm there in front of all of you, trying to bring in another change in myself, try to improve my reading habits, and more importantly, trying to improve myself as a speaker and a writer. To conclude, I'll like to say to everyone over here, although everyone likes changes in their life, but still to those who don't, that one should embrace all the changes which are coming their way. They might not be transforming your life, but they will surely transform you as a person in a better version of yourself. Thank you. Back to TM Modi, Nimit.
Wow, thank you, Arshil, for that beautiful first speech. And we have a culture at Toastmasters to give the first speech a standing ovation. So can I request you all, if not inconvenient, to give a standing ovation to Harshil?
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
If not, at least let us appreciate him using the emoticons, clap or hearts. And let us take this opportunity. Let us take 1 minute to record feedbacks for him. You can do so in one-to-one chat to Harshil. And I wish Harshil all the very best. And I hope this change of Toastmasters is a constant and brings a lot of success to you.
I hope so. Thanks.
Okay, is that the indication of 1 minute timer? Thank you, timer. Yeah, so now let us move on to our second speaker of the day. Our second speaker is Toastmaster Surbhi Mittal, who I believe is on cloud 9 after getting graduated recently, but believes that learning still never stops, and hence the journey with Toastmasters. She looks forward to participating in various contests in Toastmasters and would like to take up leadership roles available as well in future. But before I call upon, let us invite her evaluator of the day, a distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder Singh, a veteran who knows Toastmasters like back of his hand, an ambassador of the Pathways Learning Program, and who personifies the 4 core values of Toastmasters: integrity, respect, service, and excellence. So let's welcome distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder Singh to read out the speech objectives.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the meeting. Surbhi today is attempting a research and presenting project from level 1 of the Pathways Learning Program. The purpose statement of her project reads as: the purpose of this project is for the member to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. Timer, please note, time allotted is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best to you, Surbhi, and all the best to Nimit. I give the stage back to you.
Thank you very much, Rupinder. So can we have the second speaker on Spotlight, please? And can we do a quick audio video check?
Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are audible and visible. Thank you. So Toastmasters should be: everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. Toastmasters should be.
How many of you believe that everything happens for a reason? Just give me a hands up, please. Well, I certainly do. It is a faded memory of the second semester of my first year of engineering graduation. That sunny evening had thousands of dreams, passion, and memories along with it. As I saw my seniors getting graduated, having these red files marking their official degree and the exuberance that they had on their faces. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests, a very good afternoon to everyone. Engineering is the heart and soul of India. And why? India has the largest number of engineers as well as the highest number of educational institutes and infrastructure around the world. As of 2021, India annually produces 1 million engineering graduates every year. And this number keeps on escalating as the students see engineering as an attractive profession with a decent salary package. Of the million engineering graduates produced every year, less than 5% of engineers are produced by the Tier 1 government institutes like IITs, NITs, triple ITs, and the remaining over 90% of engineers are produced by the private and non-autonomous state-level engineering institutes. Coming back to the effervescent evening I was eliciting about, I still remember the curiosity I was feeling in my heart then. Seeing my seniors having those job offers, I was imagining myself at their place and drawing myself into the picture of wearing those robes, flying that graduation hat, scribbling over the back of each other t-shirts, and finally having the offer of my dream company in my hand. Talking about job offers, the most important question that arises here is that even after investing a crucial time in a 4-year curriculum, do the students really become skilled engineers, or are these engineering skills limited to their certificates? According to the new annual employability survey carried out by Aspiring Minds, the reports reveal that 80% of engineers are not even qualified to get a job in a core domain. And 3% of them possess the new age skills like artificial intelligence, machine learning, and big data that industry requires. Additionally, only 3.48% are employable in the software related jobs. Addressing this issue, there have been a lot of studies and reports suggesting various reasons of unemployment. One being the large number of private universities producing more engineers than our country demands, with lower educational standards and skills that creates a skill gap in the country. I myself have studied in one of the private universities. However, the educational curriculum that my university followed included all the practical skills needed to be in the industry. My university also gave me a lot of inter and intra-level opportunities where I actually acknowledged and came across my strengths, which are mostly into public speaking, communication, management, and leadership roles. So basically, it boils down to not the spring of private universities over the last decade, but the quality of education and opportunities they provide is something that actually makes a difference. When I talk about dream companies for any student, the names that tops the list are Amazon, Capgemini, Tech Mahindra, and brands like these. I remember my own placement season last year in March 2020, when Make My Trip visited my college. The whole batch of nearly 700 students appeared in the first round, and barely 30 could make it to the final one, me being one of them. I remembered the time I had my fingers crossed, the time I was waiting for the final list of the selected students. And guess what? I was not able to make through it and got rejected. Let me show you a graphical representation of the preference of engineers when they choose an organization. As you can see, a large number of students, which is 62%, want to go in the MNCs, and 30% and 8% prefer small size enterprises and startups respectively. In my own case, I would prefer the former one. However, life does not go the way we plan to. I got placed in a small startup, and following December, I got placed and switched into a company in Gurgaon. Although, since I was not satisfied with the current profile I am into, which is into software development. Hence, I dared to find a profile at such a tender age in my career, which would suit my strengths and personality, and landed into business analyst and got an offer from a company that has its expertise into it. Now, how did I land into this business analyst thing is a completely different speech that I would like to give. However, one thing that I can talk for sure is that I did not try to convert my profession into my passion. However, I tried to gather my own strengths and find my passion accordingly. Now, most of the times we are forced to get into something that we are qualified into. The only reason that I could get into this was that my university gave me opportunities to find my strengths. Also, the companies that I pursued had also tried to give me my strengths and passion. Had I have been placed in a brand like MMT, I would have never thought through it. Now, again, I ask you all, do you think that everything happens for a reason? Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day.
Yes, again, worthy of applause. Thank you very much, Surbhi, for that enlightening and well-researched topic, so close to your life at this moment. And yet again, we can take 1 minute to record feedbacks for the speaker. Please do so and share your feedbacks and comments to her on one-to-one chat. Thank you, timer. Friends, we now know that Toastmasters came into being in 1924. Even the logo above me says that, isn't it? Well, but as I told you, it was started by Ralph Smedley, who was working for Young Men Christian Association, YMCA. But till now, for a lot many years, the membership was only confined to men. But can anyone tell me when for the very first time Toastmasters opened its membership for women? Which year?
I think it was 1970s, and I think Helen Blanchard was one of the first women to be inducted. She later on became the international president.
All right. Yes, you got it right there. 1970s. Any specific year?
77?
73.
Yes, it was 1973. So around close to around 50 years, it was for the first time opened for women. And there's a stat which I will try to pull up after some time, which says that today there are more female members than male members. Isn't it interesting? So going forward, by 1974, the membership reached 60,000 in 3,000 plus clubs across 41 countries. And in 82, it reached the 1 lakh mark. And it was spreading like anything. And in just 7 years, it reached 1.5 lakhs. Headquarters moved from Santa Ana to California. And 1995, what could have happened in 1995? I was about to say it, let me ask this. What could have happened? Something which was on boom that time, which completely changed the picture of Toastmasters and in fact anything in those times, and it started reaching to each and every individual who was not even aware of Toastmasters.
Maybe we got a new, this thing, the new education curriculum came in, competent communicator, competent leader.
No, not that. The hint I just gave, that it's through this, it reached each and every individual in this world.
Toastmasters.org launched.
It was easily, the Toastmasters was easily accessible to all.
Toastmasters.org launched.
Yes, that's right. So that first ever Toastmasters website was launched in 1995 and made the world a smaller place and well connected. But it is now the time that we all connect well by coming up and speak on a topic impromptu in our table topics section. And who better to take us through the section than a very true Toastmaster in my eyes, someone whom I really admire, who never says no to you. He is not only the pillar of this club supporting in administrative and educational and technical aspects, but is also one of the pillar of the entire Division M, serving as a tech manager. He is none other than the Toastmaster Surjit. So please come on the stage and share with us one memorable instance of your Toastmasters journey.
Regarding this Toastmaster journey, I have many incidents in the Toastmaster, but I don't remember at this time. I will share it later. So let's start this session first. And if I come to know, and if any idea come to me, and I will definitely share with you. So fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, one of the most exciting portion of the Toastmaster meeting is table topic session. The main objective is to challenge the member to think, to develop their impromptu communication skill by answering unrehearsed questions. We also give each member an opportunity to speak on stage, and we do this with our table topic session. Table topic session is specifically designed to develop 4 impromptu communication skills, that is listening, thinking, organizing, and speaking. Today, as a table topic master, I will asking a question later to our meeting team, and you have to answer it 1 to 2 minutes. You will see a green card at 1 minute, yellow card at 1 minute 30 seconds, and red card at 2 minutes. There will be a grace period of 30 seconds, but after 2 minutes 30 seconds, you will be disqualified if you cross that limit. So let's start this session. Starting with our guests, we have guest Surendra. We have Khushbu,
Yes,
Surendra. So, okay. So are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Surendra, do you think that an apple a day will keep doctors away? Do you think that an apple a day keep doctor away? Surendra.
As I get old and my memory diminishes and we dwell and think about what has happened in the past, one thing which I always remember was this particular saying that an apple a day keeps the doctor away. In my own case, I have grown up amongst apple orchards, and therefore I cannot negate this particular thought. Every time that I felt hungry, I bit into an apple which would grow in the orchards around my school. We used to raid orchards late at night, and at those times, we would all find ways to hide from the gardeners who would guard the place at night, knowing that these students would be coming. And we all would steal apples and enjoy those apples when we went back to the hostel. And therefore, if today I am in some sort of a shape with the dwindling years as it goes along, I believe that apples are the core strength which I have built myself on. And therefore, I cannot, as I said, negate this particular thought of an apple a day keeps the doctor away, because doctors are one people who have to avoid. And it's an easy option in today's context where getting medical help is becoming more and more costly. And even though the apple prices have gone up, I still find it's much cheaper to grab an apple, bite into it, relish it, and say, thank God the doctor is not there. Over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Surendra, for such wonderful wonderful experience or ideas about the an apple a day keeps the doctor away. And I fully agree with you that if we keep our diet properly, then we can keep the doctor away. Now, moving to our next table topic, I am saying guest Khushbu. Khushbu, are you ready?
Yes.
Topic for you is, Khushbu, why does an empty vessel make more noise? Why does an empty vessel make more noise? Khushbu.
Emptiness means hollow. And when I hear the word hollow, the first thing that comes to my mind is vacuum. So emptiness, hollowness, and vacuum, all three create sound. They are looking for things to fill themselves. They are looking for things which will accomplish them, which will nourish them. And that is why they make more noise. For example, I'll relate this why empty vessels makes more sound to a proverb, a very popular proverb, which my father told me once, that an idle mind is a devil's mind. So an idle mind is always looking for things, because when I was a little girl, I was very naughty. And my schooling started when I was 8 years old. My proper formal schooling started when I was 8 years old. And I used to make a lot of destructive things at home. So my father used to repeatedly tell me that since you're idle, you're making noises. You don't have anything to do and you're just trying to get everyone's attention. So an empty vessel makes noise because they are looking some things to fill themselves up. So they need something which will fill them up. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Toastmaster Khushbu. And I fully agree that empty vessels always make noise when they don't have anything to convey. And moving on to our next table topic, we have uh, Toastmaster Chintan, who is also playing the grammarian role. So, Chintan, are you ready?
Yes.
Chintan, topic for you is, Chintan, if early word catches all the worm, then how other words still alive? If early word catches all the worms, how rest of the words still alive?
It's not always that early bird catches all the worms, because even an early riser has some limitations. If we relate to our life, for example, an early riser person, it is not obvious that he or she would get most out of her or his life. There are night owls which are greatly productive. There are people who work day and night. They are also very much productive. And it's a situational question that whether to be an early riser or whether to be a night owl. Similar way, when you say an early bird catches all the worms, it's not true, because the entire world also gets the worms. So it depends on how you see the thing and not the actual one. Everything depends on how we perceive and not how we actually see it. So I completely disagree with the quote that early bird catches all the worms, because even in a funny or lighter way, the early bird cannot have or rejoice all the worms available to him or her. So it's not possible that early bird catches all the worms and the entire world does not live. It goes on whether you are an early bird or you are late, because always in life time is relative thing. Someone has become president at the age of 60, and a great personality like Bhagat Singh died in 20s or 30s. So there's no correlation, and we should not compare ourselves between each other. Rather, we should always compare ourselves with our yesterday's version. And in this way, I feel that we would achieve more than we can ever dream of. What do you think, Table Topics Master? Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Chintan, for such a wonderful words. And I fully agree that it's time doesn't matter. It's what matters what result we get and how much effort we put in that. I fully agree with you. Now we have Rahul Dube, Toastmaster Rahul Dube. Are you ready?
Yeah, am I audible there?
Yes, you are audible and visible.
Okay.
So topic for you is one incident when your action spoke more louder than your words. One incident when your action spoke more louder than your words. Rahul.
I still remember October 2017. We were hosting a huge game in my university at that time. And well, guess what? Being the in charge of the event, we all were at the same level, isn't it? In college life, nobody is boss, nobody is manager, nobody is senior. We all are at the same time, we were in the same group. Somebody is doing the marketing work, somebody is doing this work, and we were planning for the sports event. And well, guess what? One work was very trivial, which we forgot. That is to cut and clean the ground. Some grasses were there, a lot of pebbles were there, and everybody out of the self-defense or ego, we can say, to be practical thinking. I am not going to go on the ground and cut those grasses. We should report it to the college authorities. They should do it. But we didn't have the time. Our sports was about to start in just half an hour. And we were event committee, we were 10 members. One people will come and he will try to do that work. Of course, we are not going to be successful. I got to know that the okay, situation is getting worse. I said, hey, no issue. We are going to have samosa party before the start and before the end. But before that, I started, oh, so many pebbles here. Let me clean them. And I started picking them one by one, without saying anything, without ordering anyone about this. When I started picking, when I started clearing, we were having a long iron rod to cut the grasses, which were kept there. I just slid it like that. To my surprise, I found all of my people there, all of my colleagues, they started doing that. I didn't have to specifically say someone that do this. And that time I realized the leadership styles that, okay, many times it is not about the orders. Many times you need to be that person. At the end, we just want the result. And if the result is in your mind, action and whatever the work you do does not matter. So always lead by example and lead from the front. Over to you, Titi.
Thank you, Rahul. Such a wonderful message you gave through your speech. And I fully agree that it's always action that take us forward. Now we have last topic, and I think Rupinder Singh, distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder Singh, are you ready?
Always.
Yes. I have a one funny topic for you, and topic for you is, if necessity is the mother of invention, then who is the father? If necessity is the mother of invention, then who is the father?
Well, the answer is quite simple, Mr. Topic Master. If necessity is the mother of invention, then frustration is its father. Let me tell you why frustration is the father of invention. It all began several centuries ago when man decided to move one thing from one place to the other. He first started dragging it, and then he found that the thing was getting damaged. Then he saw the trees and he said, wait a minute, those tree trunks, they are round in shape. If I cut them down, they'll roll. Now, if they can roll, and if I can place something on top of them, then it will be easier for me to transport. Unfortunately, we do not know who got frustrated, but this was a necessity. And from there began a revolution that culminated into the aeroplanes, the cars, the vehicles, or for that matter, even the washing machine in your home, all operate on the principle of a wheel. It started with frustration. Frustration then decided to meet necessity. And necessity and frustration came together to produce an invention. Before I close, here is another example. It started with the necessity of me knowing where I stand as far as public speaking goes, and getting frustrated as I saw speaker after speaker, not necessarily better than me, going on getting promoted. And that's when necessity and frustration came together, and they gave me the road to Toastmasters. So I see my weaknesses dwindle, my strengths multiply. And on that positive note, let me close with what you asked in the beginning. If necessity is the mother of invention, then clearly frustration is the father. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder Singh, for such wonderful words about this topic. And I have never expected that you will go with this way and give us a insight about this topic. So with this, I wrap up this session, and I thank all the speakers. And I think we have polls ready for the table topics. Tech Master.
Not yet, we are working. We'll do for the best speaker. We do have for the best speaker. Let's do the best speaker, and then we'll do the best table topics once before the Toastmaster hands over to the general evaluator. I'm going to close the polls in another 10 seconds. So please vote as soon as possible. Got 3 more votes to go. Closing polls in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Thank you. You can continue.
With this, I hand over the stage back to our Toastmaster of the day, Nimit Mittal. Over to you, Nimit.
You're muted.
Thank you very much, Surjit, for that very well conducted. Sorry. For very well conducted table topic section, and I congratulate all the speakers for that beautiful speeches. And those who could not get a chance, we would definitely like to listen to you as well in coming time. Okay, and so now we move on. So we have somewhat reached to the new millennium. So come 2000s, the Toastmasters International Clubs reached the 10,000 mark with 25, in fact, 250,000 memberships in 106 countries. And this was a time when the brand, logo, and tagline got refreshed. And so was refreshed the educational program. Pathways was launched and got fully implemented by 2018. And last year, 2020, Toastmasters and Rotary International announced a strategic alliance. Huge for the world also happened for Toastmasters. The pandemic struck, but it never dwindled the growth and passion of Toastmasters. In fact, in the end of this time, it drove the club meetings online, and 83% of the clubs went virtual. And it is always true that what doesn't kill you Today, we are 3 lakh members strong across 15,800 plus clubs and 1 in 10 countries, confident and effective speaker. And like I was
Nimit, you are not audible.
Can you remove, can you stop your video and just continue on your audio?
Percent of the members are female. Hello?
Your internet
Is it unaudible now?
Yes, but your
Please
internet
give
is a bit glitchy.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. That's why I'm logged in from two devices, trying to manage. But yeah, that's what I wanted to show you. So that's the past of the history of Toastmasters, and that's the present of Toastmasters, which is helping us become a better communicator, leader, and a more confident individual. And how are we generally under the evaluation section to get better? Over to you. Hello,
All
am
right.
I audible?
I am assuming that you just handed it back to me, Toastmaster Nimit. That was definitely some interesting slow-mo speech towards the end, but we truly enjoyed it. Don't worry on that. I see that we have our votes in, and I would request all of you to cast your vote. We should get started in the meantime on the evaluations. And like Nimit was saying, lots of interesting things around Toastmasters and how it, it evolved over a period of time. I think each of us are here in Toastmasters to evolve ourselves as individuals and get better than where we are today. And hence the role of evaluations and the feedback which we get on our processes, on both our processes and our speeches are critical to this journey. With that note, I would start with my wonderful team of evaluators. To begin with, let's look at our prepared speeches. And I will invite Rupinder, who is the evaluator. I'll invite Ragini, who's the evaluator for the first speech, to share her feedback for the first speaker.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. And I feel today there's something wrong with this word Ragini. So first Nimit said Hina, and here our General Evaluator said Rupinder instead of Ragini. Okay. So commencing with my evaluation. Hello again. Toastmaster Harshal, I will evaluate your icebreaker by providing ice, I, which are the interesting elements of your speech, and breaker B, elements which could have been better. You began with a rhetoric question about searching a quote that resonates with your life, which was relatable to the audience and reminded us how relevant the subject is to us, and so we were inclined to listen. So kudos on that. Again, you also used a significant pitch range and projected your voice very well. It almost looked like you're conversing with us, like you're talking with us and not delivering a formal speech. This not only made the session engaging, but also gave the impression of a confident and an authoritative speaker. And it also showed that you're very comfortable in your space. You instilled a tinge of humor very organically and very smartly in examples like, through reading novels, my grammar didn't improve, but my sleep cycle surely did. The speech body was clearly signposted as you spoke about yourself first, your strengths and weaknesses of public speaking, and how you tried to overcome it, and you then developed logically to the intriguing takeaway that changes might not transform your lives, but would surely transform you. And this inspired the audience to take a pause, step back, and introspect. Now, my speaker definitely possessed the major ingredients of to become a wonderful speaker. Just a few additions which can help Toastmaster Herschel to become a refined version of speaker are: so for this speech, Toastmaster Herschel, you had 4 to 6 minutes. So take it as the audience is ready to give you 4 to 6 minutes of their lives. Try to utilize it to the fullest. You can dwindle the usage of greeting words like thank you, good morning in the starting, and utilize it to use your own content words. And honestly, as an audience, I wished to hear more about you from you. Also, for your next speech, you can try certain voice modulations using a combination of high, low range of vocal techniques, which would serve as an icing on the cake. For example, elements when you showed surprise to hear something, increase your pitch to reflect the same. Or places where you mentioned that nothing worked to improve your verbal and written English skills, and then you reached out to your friend Anand Katyayani. So there's some change in transition. Try to change your pitch accordingly. Hence, to sum it up, Toastmaster Harshal clearly met his objective of introducing himself with his very logical structure of speech, humorous narrating style of speech, and a strong, clear voice. The whole speech was very well crafted to lift our spirits and leave us with a message we'll never forget. Thank you, and over to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ragini. That was wonderful and very encouraging. I now invite our second evaluator, Toastmaster Rupinder.
Am I audible and visible? Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are. Rupinder.
Okay, thank you. I have always been a fan of openings that capture attention, and today our speaker, Toastmaster Surbi, did nothing different. She opened with a question. When you ask a question, you engage an audience. And she started with a very relevant question that was related to her topic. Everything happens for a reason. Adding icing on the cake. What it cost was for the audience to pause and raise their hands as they were instructed to do. I also liked the prop that Surbi used, that degree from her university. And then she accentuated it with her expectations from the university and how the university could help her in becoming a better person. Throughout her speech, Surbi stated statistics, numbers, and each of those numbers were not only supported by facts, but also by her own interpretation. And that is fully meeting the objectives of a research and presenting speech. What else could Surbi have done to make the speech better? I had a few very minor suggestions for Surbi. Hopefully, this will help you make your speech better. For one, when you ask people to raise their hands, give them about 3 to 5 seconds to respond. Because when you ask for an answer, people take about 5 seconds to respond. When you ask them to perform an action, they take about 3 seconds to respond. So give them 3 to 5 seconds to respond. In this case, I noticed it was somewhere around 2 seconds. Next time, wait for 3 to 5 seconds. Count 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, up till 5 Mississippi, and that will give you 5 seconds. Second, you said that 5% of the population, of the graduate population, was coming through the premier engineering colleges. And then you said more than 90%. It would have been better if you had said more than 5% and then more than 9%, 90%, because then it would have added the equation together. Right now, it is coming across as 90 plus 5, 95%. And I was left wondering, where did the other 5% go? So just work on these small nuances. I also felt that you did not need the graph at the end of the speech, because you did not use props for the other figures. So there was no need for the graph as such. And I felt that the length of the speech was kind of long. So As a challenge, Surbi, next time try to be succinct. Remember, you can always speak slower to accommodate fewer words. Be that as it may, I loved the derivation from the speech that quality of education matters. Surbi, just work on your timing, about your figures, and I think you should be on your way. I look forward to your next speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rupinder. That was wonderful and encouraging feedback for Surbi. I see that, we've forgotten to take the picture. So I'm going to take a pause and request all of us to come on screen and we could say hi and we could take a quick picture before we move to the next part of the evaluation, which is table topic evaluation. So if I could have you all on screen and we could say hi. Okay, Nimit is pointing me a thumbs up. So Nimit, on your clue. I hope someone is taking the picture. I don't know who.
I will take the picture.
How cool is that? All right.
Done.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ragini, for taking that picture. And let's move to the evaluations. Do we do the votes for the evaluation right away? Nimit, I would take your cue for that. And I would invite the tech master. Yeah, thank you. So we have the votes. And while you're casting the votes, I'm going to take a moment to start sharing feedback on our table topics. We had 5 table topics today, and they were all very seasoned Toastmasters. So I'm going to try my best to be able to give a feedback. We'll start with Surinder. I think the topic of an apple a day keeps the doctor away seem to be a topic which we often speak in most conversations when we are generally talking. So I think the way you picked up on the topic and you quickly related to the storytelling of your personal experience of being a young child who was stealing apples from the orchards was a total surprise and a spin I had not anticipated. So that was a very interesting take on the way you build on the topic. I think for me as a recommendation, because this was so personal and you already had nuggets of humor built in, like for example, when you said that, hey, I was generally being chased by the orchard guards, and if there is anything which relevantly relates back to my shape and form, you do owe it to the apple. I think there were nuggets of humor. Maybe you want to build on this. You have great content, but as a table topic speaker who's trying to now engage with an audience and keep them entertained, maybe humor is something which you may want to build in through your experiences. Khushbu, you had a very interesting topic on empty vessels make noise, and you had you started it off very interestingly with talking about how the concept of noise makes, and I am assuming that you use this time very nicely to build on what you want to deliver later as content, and also more importantly, how you want to logically end it. So that was an interesting take. Your story about your own father and how he built on talking about empty mind plays the devil's playground was quite an interesting take. I did see you repeating the same topic, which is the phrase of the title, a couple of times back as a part of your speech. Just consider something for you to avoid if possible. Chintan, early bird takes the most warm, and why some of them still survive. I think that's a very interesting take on you saying that, hey, each of us can have a different perspective, and how do you see the world around you makes all the difference. That was very well done. I don't really have much to add in terms of feedback, but see how you can plan your pacing. You know the content, you know what you have to deliver, but what makes you pace this a little bit more conveniently to your regular speech style is something which you may want to consider, because it didn't necessarily come across as something which is paced conveniently. Rahul, leading by example, I think you started off wonderfully and jumped right into with great storytelling and dramatics. I never really anticipated that you would turn it around with an amazing conclusion with your purpose and how as individuals we should lead from the front, given the story was further into the time limit. So I think that came as a very pleasant surprise. I don't really have a recommendation for you at this stage. Rupinder, it's very rare that you can find someone to build in humor as conveniently as you did in a tricky topic like necessary is the mother of invention, and you started with the most I would say the oldest invention, which is the wheel, and build on this further through a personal story of what made you join Toastmasters. So no recommendations again, but that was a very interesting take indeed. With that, I summarize the table topic evaluation, and I would quickly share my recommendations to the evaluators who evaluated the prepared speeches. I'm just conscious of the red flag, so I'm going to summarize between the two speakers and conclude it jointly. I think both our evaluators, Ragini and Rupinder, are seasoned evaluators, and they have used the CRC approach, and that goes without missing. What I really loved is both of these speakers, evaluators, gave very pointed suggestions to the speakers, which I'm sure they will take out and go through their own recorded versions and see how they could incorporate some of these recommendations, whether it is use of the ICE method and very clearly identifying how these speeches had specific elements missing, which could be incorporated for subsequent speeches. Ragini, I loved the way you detailed out especially the fact that there was a lot of comfort in the way the speaker presented himself. However, this speech was missing as an audience in terms of trying to hear a lot more about the individual, which is Harshil, and taking an opportunity to know him more. I think that was amazing. What you could have added, Ragini, was also maybe around the aesthetics of the camera position. This was definitely a speaker who is comfortable with the audience and the speech, but maybe this was also an opportunity to help Harshil know that there is value in also looking at how you position yourself using technology and how your camera is getting positioned. So maybe that was a teachable moment. Rupinder, I think your specific references to use of data and how some of those individuals who are specifically going into this meeting with very data orientation can pick up threads like a 90+5 not adding up to 100 was very interesting. I think even I didn't really recognize this unless you said. I loved your recommendation to use of Mississippi so that Surbhi can take up additional pauses. My one recommendation for you, Rupinder, would be that I think Surbhi is a seasoned speaker now with us, all of us having seen Surbhi deliver multiple speeches, and we see that she has amazing potential. Surbhi can get sharper on the way she uses her pacing. We could still see a predictable rhythm around Surbhi when she delivers a speech. It's important that maybe in the subsequent sessions, she could look at avoiding that and coming out as a little bit more natural in her style than a very calculated pacing on her speech. That's an opportunity. All right, on that note, thank you, our evaluators, and I will now invite my TAC team to come and share their feedback and observations for all of us. To begin with, I will invite the grammarian before I have any further dwindling on my time.
Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
So thank you for handing over the stage. And I am a happy grammarian today because I could not find much faults in the speeches, as well as you all have used the words multiple times. And talking about word of the day, Toastmaster Hina had used thrice. One time she used just recently while handing over to me. Toastmaster Nimit had used the word of the day 4 times, which is amazing. Toastmaster Sorindra had used once, and distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder had used once. Coming to the good usages, our presiding officer Ragini, while she opened the stage, she used eloquent speech for the importance of Toastmasters, and me being a new Toastmaster, I was so engrossed I could not able to type entire piece, but it was amazing. Then she also used icing on the cake. Then Toastmaster Nimit had used words like plethora, larger than life, cloud9, learning never stop, back of his hand, veteran. Toastmaster Herschel has used one quote that resonates with your life: revolution at your doorstep, in the hindsight, gone for the toss, all over the place, embrace all the changes coming your way. Toastmaster Surbi had used exuberance very well. Then she used heart and soul, effervescent evening, it boils down to. Guest Rahul had used trivial. Our general evaluator had used nuggets of humor, and empty mind is devil's playground. Then coming to not so good usages, I could not find much, but these are few recommendations in my opinion. That got an offer should be reframed as got an offer. Companies I pursued can be rephrased as companies I had worked for. One of the pillar can be called as one of the pillars because it is plural. Then more and more costly should be rephrased as costlier. Have you ready should be reframed as are you ready. One people was used at by one speaker. It should be either one person or people as a plural. And the last one is that goes without missing. It should be that goes without saying. I think that was the intention of the speaker while quoting that nugget. And thank you. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Chintan, for this report. And I would now invite our AHA counter, Toastmaster Pallavi, to share how sharp we were in our communications. Toastmaster Pallavi. I'm not too sure, Toastmaster Pallavi, if you are muted. Yeah, we can see you.
Thank you so much, Hina. Let me share my screen. So, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, and is my screen visible?
Yes, thank you.
So everybody seasoned today, and I did not find any filler words except Harshit used once. He used one time only, and Surbi Mittal used and just once. So I feel though I was concentrating a lot, but there is no filler words. So keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pallavi. And we do appreciate you taking this up at a short notice. That was wonderful. Let's now invite Toastmaster Rama to share her report as a timer.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. The meeting started well on time today at 1:30 p.m. and there was one disqualification today. Now coming to the prepared speeches. So first speaker, Toastmaster Herschel, spoke for 4 minutes 56 seconds. And the second speaker, Toastmaster Surbi Mittal, spoke for 7 minutes 25 seconds. Now coming to the table topic speakers. Toastmaster Saurendra spoke for 2 minutes 9 seconds. Toastmaster Khushbu spoke for 1 minute 31 seconds, and Toastmaster Chintan spoke for 2 minutes 10 seconds. Toastmaster Rahul spoke for 2 minutes 10 seconds, and distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder spoke for 2 minutes 13 seconds. Now coming for our evaluations section, Toastmaster Ragini spoke for 3 minutes 20 seconds, and distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder spoke for 3 minutes 36 seconds. Now coming to the tag team, Toastmaster Chintan as a grammarian spoke for 2 minutes 24 seconds, and Toastmaster Pallavi as a R counter spoke for 37 seconds, and mine is 1 minute 58 seconds. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rama. It's always a pleasure to hear your report. I want to check with our TMOD. Are we ready for the auxiliary? Yes, he is. And there we have. I would request all of you to share your votes, cast your votes for the auxiliary role player. In that meantime, let me share my feedback of all our tag team. Rama, you have had a very detailed report, so thank you so much for, like always, doing a great job on sharing insights. This time around, we miss seeing your share screen. Maybe there was an issue at your end. Perhaps that's a good way for individuals who are probably trying to seek how they have done. So as next steps, maybe that's an area you could strengthen on. Toastmaster Pallavi, your report was well in terms of ensuring that you're able to document it and share it all across screen. We did not hear you a lot, I think because you had a very concise report. Next time, you may want to consider giving a few tips, especially if you see that you have time left out, what you have seen as good practice today in the speeches where filler words have been avoided, perhaps because individuals were taking time, they were taking appropriate pauses, or giving it a good thought as they come prepared for their speeches. So that could have been a good way to engage back your audience. Toastmaster Chintan, as a grammarian, we loved the use of, we loved your recommendation to the word dwindling. I think it was a very convenient word for a lot of us to use. So thank you so much for choosing a very good word. I did see a lot of individuals used it, including we had our speaker one use the word of the day, and I think you forgot to mention that. Maybe it's good to just acknowledge especially when prepared speeches and impromptu speakers try and use that. It's a good way to recognize your recommendations and your insights on the good usage and the not so good usage, especially the not so good usage, was definitely something for all of us to go back and learn. So thank you so much. And we do appreciate you taking this up at a short notice. So really appreciate that. All right. On overall, I would like to quickly summarize our overall as a meeting. All the guests were very well behaved, like the way our Sergeant at Arms had called out that no disturbances, not much of technical glitches, no cross chat. So thank you all for being a wonderful audience. We had a great start by the Sergeant at Arms. The meeting started on time. Everybody was in. The guests were warmly greeted and the club mission was clearly read out. So thank you so much, Sergeant at Arms Surjit, for sharing all the details up front. Our presiding officer, Toastmaster Ragini, like always, had a very inspiring and opening to this meeting, where she was able to recognize the various dignitaries who had come and hand it over to Toastmaster of the Day, Nimit, in equally encouraging and enthusiastic way. Toastmaster of our day, Nimit. You did a wonderful job. It's always a pleasure to listen to you. You're a very natural speaker, and the theme was an interesting one, given that there is a recency to that, Toastmasters as a 75th celebration, and all the interesting tidbits of information which you were able to research and share back with us. That's definitely something which was an eye-opener for many of us. I did notice that you had a technical glitch here and there, and despite having logged in from 2 different networks, you still were facing those issues. It's perfectly fine, but the way you comfortably handled it, that was amazing, and I do want to commend you for that. It's always natural for many of us to go through those challenges, but the way you handled it was amazing. Our table topics master, Surjit, what a fun choice of topics. I was amazed. Some of these topics literally made me even laugh as I was thinking about it, especially like the last one, necessity is the mother of invention. So who's the father? I mean, I couldn't have thought about a more fun way to have a table topic. It's good to see you engage the audience, not just while the opening where you very clearly explained, how does table topic really help individuals, but equally at the end of every session, you were able to engage back and have a conversation on the topics and the speakers as they delivered their speeches. With that, I am done with my evaluations, hopefully, and my timer card says that this any more dwindling is not going to be acceptable, and I should hand this back to our Toastmaster of the day, Nimit. Toastmaster of the day, Nimit, are you still around? All right. Looks like our Toastmaster of the day, Nimit, still is facing some technical issues, and let's give him some time. Like we said, it happens with the best of us, and in that spirit, it's best to move on to our presiding officer, Ragini. If I can invite you in, as Nimit continues to face some tech issues, but in the spirit of Toastmasters, Toastmaster does teach us one thing: spontaneity, and that's what we are all about. So Ragini, back to you.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, for that wonderful evaluation and very fruitful for all the speakers. So thank you everyone for being a wonderful audience as well as speakers. I would encourage you all to maintain the same bond and energy in the further meetings. Take up roles well in advance so that you can rehearse well, and we have a concise general evaluator's report and recommendations for all of us. Now with this, let us now hear feedback about the meeting from the guest very quickly. I would like to invite
Hello?
on the stage. Yes, Nimit. Hello. Welcome back.
Yeah, I just wanted to conclude. So can I, or
Sure.
should I later?
No, you can use the stage to conclude, and then we'll take the feedback from the guests.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, and I must apologize for the technical glitches, for dwindling the experience which could have been. But nevertheless, we have talked about the past. We have talked about the present as well. But what about the future? Well, to continue on the mission with which we started this very meeting, and will like to close this meeting as well, that we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. And with such glorified history, the community is growing stronger as ever. Millions of people have benefited from this program, and there are millions more to benefit in years to come. So let us commit ourselves today in investing in self-growth and development, and we will celebrate the Toastmasters centenary together again. Happy birthday to Toastmasters, and thank you for making Toastmasters Toastmasters. Over to you, Ragini.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, for that enriching and inspiring conclusion. Happy birthday to Toastmasters. And hence we move on to our guest to take the feedback for the meeting today, starting with our grammarian, Toastmaster Chintan Sheth.
So it was an amazing session, and I just dropped in by looking at the invite, but got a chance to be a grammarian at the 11th hour. But it was worth taking the role, because although in the start my strength was dwindling, but I am really amazed by the way you all are conducting the session, and really happy to be part of the fraternity of Toastmasters. Looking forward for the future meetings as well. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Chintan. And it was pleasure to have you at the very last minute. So thank you for that as well. Before we move on to our next guest, I would request every one of you to vote for the best role player quickly. While you all are voting, let's move on to our next guest, who was Rahul Dube. Rahul, can we hear from you about the meeting and your experience today?
Yes, presiding officer. Meeting was really good. And what I enjoyed was the quality of the evaluations as well. Be it from Rupinder sir, or be it from you, or even the table topic evaluations. So I loved listening to them and learning from the evaluation. And really nice. I enjoyed the meeting. Thank you all for having me.
Thank you for those wonderful words, Rahul, and we expect you in further meetings as well. Next, we move on to Sharindra Bhomik. Can we hear from you, Sharindra sir?
Sure. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Spearhead is one club which I had always wanted to come and attend a meeting. And I can tell you, I really enjoyed each one of the speeches as well as the evaluations. Of course, I'm a little biased because my good friend, distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder Singh is there. And one of my favorite Toastmasters, Ragini, is also there. So I was actually drawn into this, especially when I saw the topic for today's meeting, which is very, very interesting. And you re-go or relearn a lot about the Toastmasters fraternity and how it's been done and the history about it, which Nimit really did a great job. So thank you very much, and looking forward to having an opportunity to get back to you sometime or the other. Over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to you, Sharindra sir, for joining our meeting. I was intrigued to see your name in the participants list today. Thank you. Next, we move on to, I think we've covered all the guests, right? Yes. So here we conclude our meeting very quickly. Since I am the host now, I will share the results, and the certificates will be provided to all of you through email by Rupinder, who is not in the meeting now, but he will provide it to you later on. So I will quickly share the results, polling results. So for the best role player, we have the winner. Is my screen visible to all of you? Our general evaluator Hina. So it was a close fight between all of you, and we finally have general evaluator Hina as the winner. Congratulations, Hina. Next, for best speaker, again a close fight, and we have the result as speaker one, Harshal Agarwal as the winner. Congratulations, Harshal. Next, we have best speech evaluator, and we have the results. as Ragini as winner. So congratulations to myself. Thank you everyone for voting in. Then we have the best auxiliary role player. And we have a clear winner, our grammarian for the day, Toastmaster Chintan. Congratulations, Chintan. And lastly, we have the best table topic speakers. Again, a very clear winner. And the results are Toastmaster Rupinder is the winner. With this, we conclude the session. Congratulations to all the participants and the winners as well. So with this, I also have an announcement to make for all the members and the guests as well. We are soon, all the clubs conduct contests, which are table topics contest, evaluation contest, and the international speech contest. Most of the clubs already have started conducting it, and these are around the corner now. You will be hearing about the dates for every clubs. So for this, our Spearhead Club, I am going to announce the dates for the 3 contests. Please take a note. First of all, 28th November, we are going to have our table topics contest. And then, one second. December 19th, we will have the evaluation contest. And on Feb 20th, we will have international speech contest. So it is November 28th, December 19th, and Feb 20th. Please block the dates as I urge all of you to participate in the contest. There is no eligibility criteria for table topics and evaluation contest. Each and every member can participate. But for the international speech contest, the member who wishes to participate needs to complete at least till level 2 of pathways. Any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you so much. So everybody, please block the dates and I look forward to your participation. So I adjourn the meeting for today and we can stop the recording.